But let's pick up with Diddy's assistant, David James. Now, let me tell y'all something. Reports are saying that David is very witty. He will get back with you if you say something like wrong to him. Like he be on it, okay? But let's go through and see what he has to say. So Diddy's lawyer decided to cross-examine David. Diddy went with Mark Agnafilio. So Mark was like, when y'all was at the diner, did you leave D-Rock to go get Diddy? David was like, well, why would I do that? That makes no sense. Mark said, do you know where Diddy got the guns from? David said, no. Mark said, have you ever been in a situation like this before? He was like, no. Mark was like, so you telling me in your former job, you used to be a salesperson and now you running around doing drive-bys? David was like, yeah, it was not an ideal situation to be in. So Diddy's team is trying to poke holes into his credibility by saying, oh, now you're saying you some type of gangster. In my opinion, I think David pretty clearly told us that he was not a gangster because he quit. Diddy's lawyer said, did you get immunity for this testimony? He said, I signed a proffer agreement. Essentially, what a proffer agreement is, you can sit down with the police or the feds and they'll say, hey, you get to be a king for the day and tell us everything that you know, and everything is going to stay right here in this room and we won't prosecute you for anything that you tell us right now. So Diddy's lawyer said, did you meet with the feds this morning? David said, yeah, briefly. Mark said, what did y'all talk about? David said, your cross-examination style. Mark said, okay, I got a few more mundane questions for you. David said, I like mundane questions. It was nitpicking with each other. So Mark started asking him these random questions like, do you know that Diddy enjoys ketchup? He said, yes. David said he liked Astro God, condoms, and baby oil. He said, matter of fact, I used to pay for those things out of pocket and have to get reimbursed. Diddy didn't want me to run it through the business name. Mark said, so you and Roger Bonds, y'all was pretty cool. David was like, yeah, Bad Boy was kind of like a family. Mark said, well, what was your relationship with Chef Jordan? He said, professional. Mark said, did you choke her? He said, no. David said, we did have an incident, but I just grabbed her arms and told her to stay in her lane. And then she went to HR on me, and Diddy told me not to be putting my hands on women and to go and buy her a gift. So I just rolled her a blank and gave it to her. But yo, this is crazy. So if you think about it, David sounds like one of them guys who not really about that life. But if you remember, if you go back to my previous day, when David was first introduced to the group, he said all the security guards, including Roger Bonds, was like, hey, don't get involved in nothing and stay in your lane. So I think this shows like how the behavior of Bad Boy starts to infiltrate into people, even like David. Like David even acting a little gangster now. He telling Jordan to stay in her lane. He telling the chef, hey, stay in your lane. Diddy's lawyer Mark said, have you ever been with prostitutes? He said, yeah. Roger Bonds bought a lady to me, but I didn't know she was a prostitute until she asked for $200. David said, I got mad. I didn't want to pay no prostitute. I didn't know what was going on. And then Diddy's lawyer was like, okay, I'm done.